Shytyk University, project leader of this amazing project. You will be hearing a lot of from different teachers, different teacher trainers that have participated in this project. I am really honored that this conference is taking place here at Nuenen's College in Nuenen, which is in the southern part of Europe, of the Netherlands, sorry, northern Europe, yeah, close to Eindhoven. And I am really very happy for different reasons. First of all, because within our consortium, we have 3 teacher training institutions and 2 schools collaborating in it. One of the schools is Nuenen's College. And Nuenen's College is a very special school. Yeah, we very often think that we do these innovative projects only for bright minds, super talented learners, and we do that as well. But Nuenen's College is a pre-vocational school, and we are so happy to have you in the consortium. Yeah? That's one of the reasons. The second reason is because in these kind of projects, everything seems to be centralized around the head institution and cities. Well, we are here in a village, okay, which is also something to think of, something of added value. Yeah, so for all these reasons, I'm very happy, and I want to thank the school. I want to thank the headmaster, Twan Hertz, okay, who has prepared a very nice video about the school, and I want to thank Bart Partul, a German teacher here at the school, who is in charge of the whole organization. And it is not very easy, I must say, yeah, because of all the technological issues that play a part. And I want also to thank Marijn, because he is doing all this training so that you people following this online can have a wonderful experience. So I will be telling you later on about the project, what it is about very shortly. Okay, but let's have a look at the video clip that Twan Hertz, the headmaster, head teacher of Nuenen's College, has prepared for all of you. Thank you.
Welkom, mijn naam is Twan Hertz, ik ben directeur van het Nuenens College. De plek waar vandaag een extreem mooi E-LIVE Event gaat plaatsvinden. Het gaat niet alleen over de mensen die hier binnen zijn, maar ook alle internationale gasten die hier binnen zijn. Alle mensen uit Nederland, maar ook de mensen die vanuit de digitale wereld met ons meekijken. Je bent hier niet zomaar op een plaats, maar je bent hier in Nuenen. Nuenen is onderdeel van de Brainport-regio Eindhoven. En dit is een hele mooie en bekende omgeving waar we eigenlijk ervoor zorgen dat de technologie en de maakindustrie ervan gaan zorgen dat heel de wereld kan genieten van alles wat hier gemaakt wordt en alles wat hier ontwikkeld wordt. Het gaat hier over inclusie in deze regio, want als jij heel veel mensen vanuit de hele wereld op deze plek krijgt, dan is het ook belangrijk dat iedereen zich thuis voelt en iedereen zich fijn voelt in deze omgeving. Daar speelt E-LIVE een hele belangrijke rol in. Het is een virtuele uitwisseling van verschillende scholen, wat ervoor bijdraagt dat taal iets heel belangrijks is. En die taal die zorgt ervoor dat wij als scholen goed met elkaar kunnen communiceren. Niet alleen hier op school, niet alleen live, maar dus ook via de virtuele wereld. Ik neem jullie allemaal mee naar binnen. De mensen die digitaal aanwezig zijn, die verwelkom ik door met jullie naar binnen te lopen. De rest van de groep zit al binnen op ons te wachten. En dan ga ik meer vertellen over het mooie event van vandaag, van E-LIVE. Kom op. Je bent nu inmiddels binnen in het Nuenens College. Vandaag gaat hier binnen, gaat het E-LIVE Event plaatsvinden. E-LIVE zorgt ervoor eigenlijk dat wij een virtuele uitwisseling gaan creëren en dat we vandaag een programma hebben wat tips en tricks geeft En dat we ook kunnen praten over wat hier allemaal gaande is. Dit zal ongeveer de hele dag gaan duren en ik denk dat jullie zeer geïnspireerd zullen worden, maar daar zo meteen meer. We gaan gezamenlijk starten met een keynote-spreker, daarna hebben we workshops en presentaties. Aan het einde van de dag komen we gezamenlijk bijeen voor de ronde tafel voor een mooi gesprek. Naast alle presentaties en workshops zal er vandaag de hele dag in 207 de première van de E-LIVE film getoond worden. Echt de moeite waard om te kijken. Het is bijzonder en mooi dat het project hier op school plaatsvindt. Ik wil toch even dank uitspreken voor Marleen Bogert en Bart Bedoel die het mede voor mogelijk hebben gemaakt dat hier op een middelbare school dit project kan plaatsvinden. Ik hoop dat iedereen een heel leerzame dag gaat krijgen en dat er veel discussies zullen plaatsvinden, zodat er nog meer geleerd kan worden voor een nog mooier project.
Okay, thank you so much. It was really nice. Yesterday we had our first construction day here, and today we have no kids at school, but yesterday we had all the kids and the teachers walking around, and such a nice atmosphere, really. And the kids here, they saw us, and who are these people? So they would ask us, come to us and ask us, what are you doing here? And they were so curious and so really nice. So now I will be telling you very short in a couple of words what E-LIVE is about. Okay, this is a wonderful project. So E-LIVE is the acronym for Engaging Languages in Intercultural Virtual Exchange. It is a project we started working on in January 2022, and it will finalize in December this year. What is virtual exchange about? It is about putting learners in different social and geographical settings and using the tools to learn together, to collaborate together, to communicate together. And it is not an add-on experience, but it should be an integrated part of the curriculum. Why? Because it is very meaningful. Okay? So, what is at the heart of our project? Meaningful and authentic interaction is at the very heart of it. Okay, the focus is on intercultural communication, or understanding differences, respecting each other, helping each other, reflecting about what it is to be interculturally competent. It is about using digital tools to collaborate, to connect with others. So we are learning also digital literacies. Yeah, it is about authentic communication and inclusion, accepting the difference, understanding the difference, and difference being not as a problem, but as an asset that enriches us. Yeah, and key words within the project are motivation and engagement. Yeah, everything is about engaging the teachers, engaging the learners. Yeah, enjoying what we do. Okay, and how do we do that? At two different levels, because we are introducing these kinds of changes at teacher training institutions, and you will be seeing some experiences on that, and we are coaching teachers, school teachers working at schools. Yeah, and coaching means that we are meeting those teachers, we are helping them to organize the meetings, the tools, designing the tasks that the kids will be carrying out. Okay? And this is the consortium. As I told you at the very beginning, in the consortium we have 3 university institutions and 2 schools. So we at Utrecht University are coordinating the project. Then we have Nuenen College with Bart Pardoel and Marleen Bogert, who is sick. I hope that you are watching this. In the Netherlands we have also Nick Bart from 3DLS, yeah, who is in charge of the whole virtual experience. In Valencia we have Begoña Gabela Roitia and Barry Pennock, and I think that Barry, you are also watching this from Spain, so we miss you, really. We have school, El Queens, and Anna Peris will be sharing with us her experiences. And in France, we have our dear Cara Wicken. Okay, so this is the consortium. But we have many associated partners around the world. Yeah? We have been working very hard in these 3 years, very intensive years, and we have created a bunch of very, very enriching, interesting, motivating, engaging materials for pre-service teachers and teachers interested in knowing more about digital literacies, about intercultural communication. So have a look here, because we have very nice interactive materials to work with. Setting up virtual exchanges where experienced teachers tell us how they integrated virtual exchanges in their courses. Many tasks, and that's one of the problems that many teachers face. Which task do I give to my students? So this is key. If we are talking about motivating learners, engaging learners, the kind of tasks we give them are really very important. So we have tasks in English, in French, in German, in Spanish, and we have voices where teachers and learners are sharing with us their impressions about their experiences. Workshops we have organized and the tools we have. Okay, so until now, look at this. More than 300 per-service teachers have participated in virtual exchanges. They are coached by 12 teacher trainers, and more than 900 learners and 30 teachers at schools have actively participated in these virtual exchanges, which is huge. And this is what we will be showcasing today, the best experiences within the E-LIVE project. We have, as you have seen, a keynote with the graph. Then there are some parallel sessions in the morning focusing on the teacher training. After the break, we have school teachers talking about their experiences. In the afternoon, we will be talking about virtual reality, low and high impression, and our experiences on that. And then we have hands-on workshops. Yeah. At the end, and I think this is important, we are finalizing the project, but it is about sustainability. What can happen in the future so that this keeps being a reality at schools? Yeah, so we will have head teachers, teacher trainers participating in this round table. Practical information about the streaming. As you know, we have parallel sessions, so 2 streaming channels. You can find everything within our website, eliveproject.eu. You can be active. We hope that you really engage with us, asking questions and comments in the YouTube channel. And if you need certificates, please contact us. Okay, and in addition to this YouTube channel, we have a virtual strand in our virtual world. So you can get all the information in here, okay, or you can just take a picture of the QR code. That's me in that area. Okay, so instead of being at home alone after your laptop, you could join other avatars in here, okay? So we hope you get inspired and that you join this conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning to all of you. Also, good morning to the people watching us online. We have many registered viewers, so I'm curious how many there are watching right now, but there should be over 100 right now, so warm welcome from my side to them. My name is Bob de Roel. I'm also a member of the consortium, obviously, but I'm also a teacher here at Nuenen College. And I would like to express my gratitude to the management of Nuenen College that we can host these sessions here at our beautiful school. So thank you for that. We have a guest today, a very important guest, who is a professor of foreign language education and bilingual learning at the University. And he teaches pedagogy and curriculum development in the Graduate School of Teaching. That's correct, right? And today he will tell us about and share his insights on empowering tomorrow's education. So please give a warm welcome for Professor Rick Ricard.
Thank you so much to Nuenen College for your hospitality to offer this great venue for our conference. I was aware, maybe people online abroad were aware as well, that your head teacher, when he was presenting the school, he was outside of the building with the bike park behind him. And that's usually one of the topics that we use, and maybe you have also used during one of the tasks in this project, where pupils tell about their daily school life, and for instance about how they commute to school. And in some countries pupils go to school by school bus, in others they go by public transport, and most pupils here go by bike or by fat bike, which is definitely not the same category by that. That's always a very interesting topic for pupils to have a first intercultural experience, and also a reason for reflection. So it shows already that everyday experiences can turn into very interesting intercultural exchanges, connections and activities when you are in touch with peers, with fellow pupils from other schools in different countries. Things that you can never realize in such a way when you want to work, when you try organizing authentic communication between peers within the same classroom, who always discuss about anything and everything, but not particularly have this kind of intercultural experiences that you may have when you have opportunities to be in touch with pupils from different cultures, different languages, different countries. But maybe sometimes even when you organize it with a school 10 kilometers away, can also already be a reason for having a completely different experience and background. And there will be several presentations today that deal with those practical issues. And in my presentation, I will be discussing some ideas about the background of engagement, task engagement, and how this is organized and how this relates to the learning of pupils in intercultural communication, but also learning and development of teachers who organize such connections, and therefore also have their own task engagement in the organization and in the connection with their colleagues abroad. I did already have the pleasure and the honor to participate in, I think, Christy, from 2008 in the first Erasmus Plus project, NIFLAR, that we organized also with an international consortium. We set our first steps in relation to online communication with completely different tools than we now have, but also with the same kind of enthusiasm and the same kind of challenges, of course, or different challenges, but at least as challenging, in relation to connection between pupils, connection between teachers, connection between organizers, and this all somehow relates to engagement, because it's only possible to work in this kind of project for 50 years already for some of us, and for others to later during this 15 years to join us on this journey, if we are engaged in trying to make teaching and learning even more challenging and even more attractive for pupils and for teachers. Yeah. Hey. It goes to page 5. How do we go back? So just clicking is enough, Miranda?
Yeah, one tap.
One tap. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because what are the powers of exchange about? The powers of exchange, and this can be virtual exchange, but can be any kind of collaboration between pupils and between teachers from different schools, or sometimes already between teachers from the same school in different sections, in different departments. Because in some schools this is not obvious at all, and then seeing how you can collaborate with teachers from different departments can already have an interesting engagement opportunity. So collaboration between students, collaboration between teachers, opportunities for rich language encounters when you work with pupils and with teachers with whom you do not share the same home language. And also rich cultural encounters, because it gives opportunities to work with people with different cultural backgrounds, with whom we share a lot, but also with whom we have lots of explicit and implicit cultural differences. And by collaborating, you become aware of those cultural differences and similarities, and also become aware of your own cultural background and ideas, which is the basis for intercultural learning. So, may lead to reflection on communication, on the languages that we use, on the content of the tasks that pupils carry out in those collaborations, and the tasks that teachers have to develop those tasks. What this means to the cognitive development, so thinking, critical thinking and learning of the pupils, but also of ourselves as teachers and as teacher educators, and our understanding of what culture plays, what kind of role culture plays in culture has in communication and in learning. Intercultural communication. This might be a well-known framework for some of you, and maybe for others not as a framework, but the ideas behind this might be easily recognized and understood. This is Byron's framework of intercultural communicative competence, which is a background of what it means and what the importance is of teaching and learning between cultures. And this can mean cultures of different countries or cultures of different ethnicities, but it also implies that everyone comes from his or her own cultural background, from the family where you're from the primary school where kids came from before they get to secondary education, and the awareness of those cultural differences and similarities can be made more explicit and be a source for reflection through the kind of tasks that we give to our pupils. Those tasks relate to interpreting and relating. We have to interpret the communication, the sources from fellow pupils, in order to relate to each other. They relate to intercultural attitudes. So, how can we be aware of intercultural differences, and how can we make this as a source for communication and a source for learning? It relates to discovery and interaction. And when we have intercultural connections, we may be amazed by or surprised by differences and similarities in usual, everyday issues that we were just not aware of. And that can be an interesting source for interaction and communication. It may relate to knowledge, understanding each other's cultural background, and therefore also better understanding our own cultural background. And this all relates to being engaged. Byron uses French terminology for that, savoir s'engager, being engaged in learning. And when you are engaged in communication or engaged in the learning process, you will have better communication, and this gives opportunities for better and deeper learning. Being engaged in better teaching and learning is one of the backgrounds of a very recent curriculum development proposal. Actually, this proposal was published yesterday and will be discussed in Dutch Parliament tomorrow, after, by the way, a preparation of about 2.5 years. in which a new curriculum is proposed with new core goals for junior secondary education and new final achievement goals for senior secondary education for a whole series of different and related school subjects, including foreign languages, including Dutch as a language, but also including several other subjects, where there's also attention to the role of language and the role of culture in those subjects. This afternoon, Maite Ibanez will give a presentation on the process of this major curriculum innovation, because she was a member of one of the teams for foreign languages that developed these proposals. But I will give a very brief impression of what this implies and what this may give for opportunities for schools, for teachers, and for pupils to have more rich and more intercultural interaction and communication within the languages curriculum, but also maybe within the curricula for other subjects where culture and language always plays a role in teaching and learning. The core achievement goals and the final achievement goals for foreign language teaching and learning in the Netherlands, well, let's say 90 so far have been for maybe 90% or over 90% on language, on communication, on learning how to communicate and have some knowledge about how language works. Sometimes at the senior level with a very small focus on literature, and usually with only a very implicit focus on some cultural knowledge and cultural understanding. In the new proposal, communication still is a core achievement goal, but in relation to cultural awareness, and for foreign languages, intercultural awareness, and in relation to cognition, language awareness, being aware about how language works, about how language, your own language acquisition process works, how communication works, what the role is of language in society, in international encounters, etc. So this together shows that the next one will show content here. Yes, it does. Thank you. That there is a much greater focus on content within the curriculum than has been so far, and content related to language awareness and to cultural and intercultural awareness. And I will show some examples of what this may imply for specific learning goals. Also interestingly, what I just showed you was of communication, content, cultural awareness and language awareness surprisingly relates to this 4C framework, which has been used over the past 50 years as one of the backgrounds in bilingual education in the pedagogy of content and language integrated learning. Because we know that. This also shows communication as the source of learning. Communication is always about something, and the other way around, in order to learn content, we need to communicate. This all helps to develop our cognition, critical thinking, and always takes place within a cultural setting of the school, of the country, and also of the intercultural awareness when collaborating with others from other cultures. New junior and senior achievement goal programs have been developed. Published only yesterday. People with a Dutch educational background see that this has been developed for all different educational levels, secondary education, for all different kinds of subjects and languages. This shows 3, but for instance also for Spanish, for Dutch, for Turkish, for Italian and other languages that are less commonly taught in the Netherlands, but also have their status in secondary education. And I'll show you some of the achievement goals as have been formulated and how these may relate to and can be applied when working in virtual communication tasks. That's the first one, related to communication, and the other ones relate to cognition, cultural awareness. We see achievement goals formulated for rich language encounters, for receptive skills, and for productive and interactive skills. And people with a foreign language teaching background may recognize these as focusing on the 4 or the 5 language skills that we are used already to deal with in teaching and learning. But here already you see that there is a greater focus on rich sources, on using language creatively, on interpersonal communication, on processing which is goal-oriented towards what your own needs for teaching and learning. That it's always context-related, always goal-oriented. And most of these can be applied in any teaching and learning task, but maybe online or virtual communication tasks and tasks between pupils with different language or cultural backgrounds gives even stronger opportunities for teaching and learning. At your cognition level, this has been developed for understanding how language works as a phenomenon. When we ask teachers what do we mean by this, they say, well, grammar knowledge, for instance, but it is much more than that. And on the other hand, how language relates to your individual, your personal experiences. This too may have specific implications and specific relationships to when it comes to intercultural communication between pupils, for instance, in virtual context. Because there directly you are aware of similarities and differences between languages, or within a language which is spoken between pupils with different L1 first language backgrounds, which is a source for reflection on language variation and also reflection on different uses of languages by learners with different linguistic backgrounds. It is quite a difference for pupils to be speaking English with, and we'll see examples of that, Dutch pupils speaking English with pupils from Germany or with pupils from Spain, then speaking English with your fellow students with whom you can without any problem communicate in Dutch as well. So we give other opportunities for teaching and learning, and we make communication more challenging, and therefore at the same time give opportunities to be more engaged in teaching and learning. Even stronger so at the level of individual experience. When you communicate with others using a language which is not your first language and which is different for pupils with different home languages, you are automatically aware of your language acquisition process, and it gives opportunities to reflect on this process. And reflecting on language acquisition and language learning is also a source and a stimulus for language learning yourself. You are in a multilingual environment because you communicate with pupils with different language backgrounds. In virtual context, you are aware of the affordances, so the opportunities of interactive tools that we use, but at the same time you're also aware of the challenges of that. And everyone who has been working in this project or in a related project, also as a teacher or as a development, has also been very much aware of those challenges. And it is about making connections between those multilingual experiences and what it means for your daily life and your future career outside school, because these also gives opportunities to collaborate with others from other backgrounds and other cultures. At the cultural awareness side, it distinguishes between culture in fiction and culture in society. The first two relate more to the use of fictional text and literature and young adult literature in foreign language teaching programs, which of course can also be sources for communication between pupils from different cultural backgrounds. But the last one is about culture in society, understanding what is specific about your cultural environment, which becomes much more explicit when pupils communicate with fellow pupils with from different cultural environments. Also, communicating within a multilingual context creates a culture on its own, which gives opportunities for this awareness for pupils, which give opportunities to develop engagement in understanding how communication works and what the role of culture is within that communication situation. I already mentioned the word engagement. Task engagement, which is formulated as learners who are engaged to put effort in their work, to persist in completing what they have started, and to self-regulate their own learning process. I think this is the ideal situation for any teacher. On the other hand, we also know that this is an everyday challenge for every teacher. So, trying to find ways to, if only just a little bit, be able to work on task engagement of your pupils may already have a huge impact on their learning process, as it may have a huge impact on how they work in tasks, how they communicate, and as communicating is a main source for learning, this can already lead to a better learning. No matter the quality of communication, but if we can get pupils through tasks engaged in better, more authentic, more realistic, more interesting communication, this can lead to better learning, and when it comes to language learning, by communication, we also develop language and we develop language skills. So it comes from two sides then. Linda Gijssen, who is a teacher educator herself for English as a foreign language, and who also worked in the previous Erasmus Plus project before the E-LIVE project. She did a PhD study on task engagement in virtual environments, and I will use some of her ideas in this talk and discuss this with you. And Linda distinguishes between engagement in relation to behavior, to skills development, by acting, and she used the hands metaphor, to cognition, to knowledge development, and she uses minds metaphor for that, and affective or attitudinal engagement, and she uses the metaphor of hearts for that. At the same time, she developed a framework of all the focus points that are related to a successful online conversation task. That is a task in which the hearts, the hands and the minds can be active and can be involved in teaching and learning and can be involved in being engaged in the task. We also use this framework with our teacher students when they develop tasks for intercultural communication themselves, and also as a source for teachers who have been working in E-LIVE and related projects. You can see here that in order for a task to be engaging for pupils, the task has to be appropriate, of course, for their teaching and learning goals. We have to be able to rely on technology, but also to deal with the challenges of that technology. We have to be aware of the role that language plays in teaching and learning. We have to be aware of the role that working with a distant partner plays during the teaching and learning process. How we can stimulate and support real participation in communication, what kind of tasks contribute to this communicative participation, how does this relate to the topics that are dealt with in these tasks, and are these topics, for instance, from the language curriculum, or are these topics from in collaboration with other subjects within the school curriculum? How these tasks are managed from the teacher's perspective, as well as from the pupil's perspective when carrying out the task. And all when we are aware of and take into account the challenges and affordances of those different focus points, we can work on effective tasks that are engaging for the pupils, engaging for teachers, to monitor them, and therefore give the best opportunities for teaching and learning. In Linda's study, she worked in different case studies with partner students, in this case with a Dutch background or with a German background, so pairs of students from a Dutch school working with pairs of students from a German school. And in the context of these case studies, the pupils used English as a lingua franca. That is, both the pupils in the Netherlands and the pupils in Germany were learning English as a foreign language. And using this third language gives them the opportunity to participate. And of course, other models can exist as well. We can also imagine a situation in which the Dutch students who are also learning German use their German as a foreign language to communicate with the German students, who then may also have the role as the, let's say, the peer teacher of those students. You can also imagine cases in which the Dutch students work with German students who learn Dutch as a foreign language, which is also an elective course in several schools in Germany. And then you would speak each other's languages, for instance, in a tandem construction where sometimes they speak Dutch and sometimes they speak German. Or situations in which you speak your own language, but understand each other's language, which is what we call receptive multilingualism, which can also be a very effective means and source for understanding. But in this case, it was about using English as a lingua franca, so English as the shared and common language for communication. Students worked in different tasks. The first task was about understanding, getting to know each other, understanding each other's background, and telling something about your daily school life, because that is already a way of having some interesting intercultural encounters and surprises. For instance, about how you go to school, or about your daily school program, about what you do during lunch break, about if mobile phones are allowed in class or not. And I give you just 3 short quotes from the interviews with the pupils after those tasks that they were involved in. Because the second task was about sustainability in terms of what do you use on a daily basis to avoid waste. So pupils tell about recycling, how recycling is organized in their school, in their country, and what they think their own role and responsibility is when it comes to recycling. I have a few examples of different kinds of tasks, and this was an interview with one of the students in the first case study, and this student said, I found the first task better in the sense that we definitely spoke for 3/4 of an hour. I talked to her forever, and that's why I found it better. I participated in the conversation a lot more than with the second task. My partner was more open there in the first task, and I say the chemistry was right. So no matter what was the topic of the task, this student was really aware of how the task stimulated her or him to be engaged. In this case, what this pupil said, well, I was able to speak a lot, and we were able to understand each other. We were more open. So this was the interpretation of this student of the solution orientation. We had opportunities to be engaged in communication, and the student wasn't even so much aware or focused on the topic of the task, but just the fact that, because how often does that happen, that pupils in school communicate for 3/4 of an hour related to a task? I think any teacher would be very surprised if that ever happens. And it can happen when you are in an online communication setting with someone with whom you share a lot, because you have the same age, you both go to secondary school, you may have similar hobbies, but still can be surprised about a lot of differences. And that all relates to task engagement. Second one, this is a brief example for empathetic cooperation in the second case study with a Dutch and a German student again. And students, during this task completion, one says, if you try and do your best, it's perfect. And the other said, well, as long as you understand me, it's okay. If I don't get it, I say it. And if you also do this, it will be okay. So here we see on a very basic but essential meta level how pupils communicate about mutual understanding, which is not an obvious thing when you have different language backgrounds. So how are we going to deal with that? We're going to be aware of if the other one understands with what I'm saying, and if not, I try to adjust, or you try to give me feedback so I can say it in a different way. So this is really about connecting, which is also the core issue of engagement in carrying out the task, and at the same time here, engagement which will lead to better communication, which is one of the goals for language programs. From this case study, this example may relate to task appropriation, so how pupils make the task their own. And here they say, we took the time to discuss things, and I think that was the goal of the task, regardless of whether you understood the statement correctly. There were some statements about sustainability that I had to respond to. The main thing was that you talked about it and exchanged opinions. And from the point of view of the pupils, that's what they did. They talked about the statement, they exchanged opinions, and for them, that was already a valuable learning experience. How, as teachers, do we make those tasks and those learning opportunities possible? Linda Gijzen defines the concept of pedagogical mentoring. So that is teacher interventions that help students to raise their awareness of what is desirable or undesirable in social task engagement. So how to give students an understanding of how communication in tasks with pupils with different cultural and linguistic backgrounds, how this works, and how this may relate to being engaged in carrying out the tasks. Interventions that help students to clarify their requirements of communicative and communal success. In other words, how do students understand when communication is successful and when communal connections with respect to their cultural backgrounds is successful? So helping students to be aware of that at a meta level, not by asking lots of evaluative questions, but just by having them sometimes, well, stepping back and, as we saw in those interviews, understanding what worked and what did not work, and what may have contributed to that. And the third issue of pedagogical mentoring, helping students to make effective and differentiated use of their natural capability for communication. Pupils communicate all day, all the time with each other, face to face, online, and how can we do this in such a way in education that they learn from it when it comes to language development, to cultural understanding, to content development, etc. In order to develop those tasks, and for teachers to also be engaged in task development and be engaged and learn from this task development, one of the models that we have used is the model of design-based educational development, design-based research. And in this model we follow different steps. Identifying and analyzing problems, let's say challenges in education. For instance, how can we stimulate that pupils use the foreign language in a more natural way for communication? Then the next step can be we do so because we give opportunities for the pupils to communicate with others with other linguistic backgrounds and at the same time other cultural backgrounds. As a starting point for the development of tasks that we do between teachers, in our case, between teachers from different schools, from different countries, who also, in that way, experience the same kind of different language challenges and different cultural challenges. And development, of course, can also be adapting tasks that you are already using from the textbooks that you are familiar with. So everything has to be developed from scratch. Applying this in teaching practice, your own teaching practice and the teaching practice of the fellow teachers you collaborate with. Evaluating the pupil's communicative process and the pupil's learning process, reflecting on it, and then redesigning and using it again, trying again, making it work even better, or seeing how it can be applied in different contexts as well. My colleague Doris Abic, who is a teacher educator for German at our university, has worked on a model for experienced teachers in secondary education collaborating with student teachers in the teaching education department at our university to work together on task development. And what this means for the kind of competencies, knowledge and skills that teachers and student teachers develop. And interesting, she takes the point of view both from the student teacher's perspective and the experienced teacher's perspective. Because I hope that several of you do also work with student teachers, or have had the opportunity to work with student teachers, which is on the one hand quite an effort, but on the other hand always give you new ideas and new insights from someone else who is collaborating with you in your class and with your pupils. And this relates to pedagogical content knowledge. So what does it mean to be a good foreign language teacher, to be an effective geography teacher, to be an effective arts teacher, etc. It comes to developing your what we call adaptive expertise. So as a teacher, you always adapt to your pupils, to your audience, to their learning goals, but also to their challenges, to what just happened during the third hour on Tuesday morning when you're teaching the fourth hour, and also on what this all means for your own innovative competence. So how by developing tasks and applying tasks and evaluating those tasks, this contributes to your own learning process as a teacher who is capable of adapting tasks to the learning needs for your students. That means that we as teachers, when working as educational designers, when we develop and adapt tasks, when we use them in our own practice, and in this case together with the practices of your fellow teachers at other schools or other countries, to evaluate them and to apply them again. We work as educational designers and we learn as teachers. We have extra challenges but also extra opportunities for learning when we do so, collaborating between schools in different countries. This gives rich encounters for us, for you as teachers, for our student teachers, and as it is for your pupils as well. Rich encounters because of the tasks in which automatically you get out of your cultural, out of your linguistic comfort zone. You have to deal with the kind of challenges you would never have the opportunity to deal with within your own classroom. But by being involved in this kind of tasks and being more aware of cultural and intercultural differences and of your own cultural background and position, this also may help to better be aware of and better understand the cultural differences that also exist on the small scale of your own classroom. Because also in any group of pupils you have different cultural backgrounds. Sometimes because of different ethnicities that we have in our class, but also what I started with, your family values and background, the kind of primary school you came from. And being aware of that gives the best way for pupils to better understand each other, to have a better climate, so to say, in school. Well, to live with each other, to learn with each other, and to learn from each other. And I think this is also what we have had the opportunities when working in the E-LIVE project, to work with each other, to learn from each other, and to teach each other in how to be better teachers in carrying out tasks for our pupils to become more competent and more engaged learners in the cultural setting. Thank you very much. Watch out, because there's some chewing gum here. And while presenting, I wasn't aware that I was somehow sticking to the floor.
Well, we love to have you here, we love to keep you here apparently. And thank you very much for your very informative and valuable keynote on the design for education for language education. I also hope that the people online were able to hear it very well. For the rest of the program, in your leaflet, in your booklet, you can see that we have two sessions right now. Session A will take place here in this room, which is on virtual exchange for for language teacher education. And in the room here next door, we have a session on Frame VR, exploring the affordances of Frame VR in the context of university students. For the people online, that means that there is a live stream B, which will cover the contents of the next room. So you can switch the live stream if you like. Afterwards, after the session, we have a short coffee break here, and in room 204, which is where the open door is. Then we will show you the premiere of a documentary where we interviewed a teacher, Annika, from Keizer College in Amsterdam, and she exchanged with her students with a school in Spain, and both the students in Spain and her students are sharing their experiences, so it's worth a watch. And if you're not able to come there, it will run through the entire day, so you can see it later on. So enjoy your day and enjoy the program for today. Thank you very much.
both coming from the University of Clermont-Auvergne in France. Myself, I'm actually also a photographer. We carried out a virtual exchange with our students in the vocational master's program. And that's something that we will be showcasing with you right now. So virtual exchange and teacher education. Why virtual exchange? So I started piloting virtual exchange in collaboration at that time in 2005. And I saw with my own students how meaningful and how engaging those virtual exchanges with students from other parts of the world. In my case, it was students from Spain or students from Latin America were for their learning process, how enriching everything was. So the idea that we have is that virtual exchange should be the heart of the curriculum of foreign languages. Now, why? Because in those virtual exchanges, they develop key competencies which are essential in our society, okay? Such as communicative competencies, social competencies, collaborative competencies, digital competencies, intercultural competencies. So if we are preparing the teachers for the future, this should be an integral part of our educational system. Yeah? Okay, so we have two ways of doing this. The traditional way would be, okay, since this is very important, we give our students research papers to read about, and so develop their knowledge. But what we want to do is to combine it with experiential learning, with COLP ideas that you learn by doing, by reflecting, and by learning from this reflection as well. So in our cases, our students were given a lot about all these key topics, and they were engaged also in virtual exchanges.
The virtual exchange we're going to talk to you about today is a virtual exchange that we've run for the past 2 years between Utrecht University and Université Clermont-Auvergne. It's run at a master's level program. In Utrecht, it's part of the language teachers master's program in a module that's language curriculum. In Clermont, I was able to introduce into the first year of the master's program for English language teachers a module of 18 hours called Training for Pedagogical Innovation, Telecollaboration, which is a synonym for virtual exchange. Last year, the module involved 48 trainee teachers. Because of the language barriers, we ran the virtual exchange over 6 weeks, so it's quite intense in November-December time period, just before Christmas. And the overall goal for both sides, both participant institutions, is to introduce virtual exchange to teacher trainees and to get them involved in designing tasks for virtual exchange, with the idea that once they've met their partner in the other country, who's also going on to teach English or French as a foreign language, they could then put those tasks into place in their schools when they're in post. So we organised the exchange around 4 tasks. I won't go into each task right now because I'll be doing that in a second, but we based the task with a pre-task phase so that they could prepare for the encounter, the main task phase, which was either synchronous or asynchronous, depending on the task that we were doing together. And for us, it was really important to have a post-task, which was developing reflective skills of these trainee teachers to help them think about looking back, what could we have done better, looking forward, how could we put what we could have done better into place next time, and how can we develop this once we're in schools in post. So the first task that we asked the trainees to do was language biographies. We used a platform called Flip, which is an asynchronous video forum platform used through Microsoft. The objective here was for the partners to share their multicultural backgrounds, their intercultural encounters, and really think in their daily life, when do I use languages, where do I use languages, how and with whom do I use languages as part of plurilingual Europe. So the students recorded videos where they introduced themselves in terms of their language biography, and then the partner students in the other country could leave them comments, reactions, questions. So this was an icebreaker getting to know you as part of Plurilingual Europe. The second task was about teaching experience. The French students had just come back from a 3-week teaching placement doing teaching observation. And the Dutch students, some of them had some teaching experience, some of them didn't have teaching experience. The pre-task, we asked the students in a Moodle forum to describe the teaching experience or teaching observation experience they had. So here it was really interesting. The students were talking about different classes they'd observed, how it fit in with their teacher training modules. What we were saying at university, could they see that directly in the classroom, or was it quite different? And then they had their first synchronous encounter using Teams, video conferencing platforms. And we asked the students to discuss the different educational systems, similarities, differences, approaches, what was happening in language classrooms in both countries, and then to personalize it, so to go back to the Moodle forums before they met each other, see what their partner had written, and then try to ask more personal questions about what they'd put on the Moodle forum. The third task was using Frame VR, so a low immersion virtual reality platform. Here we asked the students if they could asynchronously, so in the different geographical groups, record a machinima. A machinima is a short recording, scripted sometimes in a virtual world using avatars. And we wanted them to do this task imagining that they were 12-year-old English language learners. So in my classroom, I asked, first of all, the trainee teachers to put themselves in the shoes of a 12-year-old language learner. They just come back from teaching placements, so some of them used that to inspire the students' personas that they developed. Others based it somewhat on themselves. We went through interviews. But here we can see I've got issues with learning things by heart, but I love talking in English but not writing. I like video games. I'm an introvert. And then talks a little bit about her bilingual background, her multilingual background. So the students developed their personas, then they went and chose avatars in the virtual world in Frame VR, went into Frame VR and recorded short machinima in an English language village called Chatterdale, which has a fish and chip shop, a chemist, a police station, a tourist information office. So this is one of the groups in the avatars who are recording an imaginary role play in a tourist information shop as if they were 12-year-old English language students. And what was really interesting when we analysed this from a research background is to the extent they used the visual prompts in world in the role play. So for example, there was a map, there were posters in the tourist information shop, but also they looked outside, out of the window and said, oh, it's sunny, so maybe we should go to the castle and the beach rather than to the museum. And so it was really interesting to see how they drew on the different types of multimodal clues that are in the environment to develop their role play or their machinima. The fourth task was the last collaborative task was to ask the trainee teachers to develop a virtual exchange task that they could potentially use with their partner. So the pre-task, we asked them on a Moodle platform to both put forward a class profile of a class who they knew, so either on their teaching placement or that they were teaching, and think about the program, the learning objectives, the pedagogical objectives, where they were with this class, etc. And then in a Teams meeting using a video conferencing platform, we asked them to develop a task based on the E-LIVE task design protocol. We asked them to design collaboratively a virtual exchange task for this class. What was really interesting, so we gave them the possibility to use any of the technologies that they themselves had experienced in the exchange, so Flips, Team, Frame VR. It was really interesting to see how they reused those technologies, but also based their task design on things that they'd seen during the course. And so here I chose the tourist information task that they adapted for their students. And they actually went back to their own role play and looked at the type of language they were using to then develop their linguistic objectives. After each task, I talked a little bit about post-task reflection. This was the post-task reflection sheet. We asked them to think about task, communication, collaboration, the intercultural experience, and the digital tools they'd used. They didn't have to reply to all of these questions. This was thought-provoking, inspirational questions to get them to reflect on the process. asking them to look back at the task. What did they completed? What did they achieve? What had went well? Were there any intercultural communication problems? But then say, what would I do next time, but both individually and as a team? And then what would I keep from what was successful? So not just analysing what didn't go so well, but analysing what's successful. What would I keep individually and as a team? And what we're going to bring in this year are more questions to do with professional development about when I go into schools and I'm a full-time teacher, how would this apply to my classroom? Because I think that's the step that we didn't quite get to last year. So, Christy's going to take it.
Bedankt voor de uitnodiging. I hope that makes sense. And we're here to talk about a language classroom with no boundaries. A language classroom where students can communicate and they can create bonds and they can do it with students from another country. Think about what an impact that can make in their learning process. Think about how much they will learn, how much they will be aware of culturally, in terms of global engagement. And this vision became a reality through E-LIVE, and we are thrilled here, Anna and I, to tell you about our experience. So we just met.
In real life.
In real life. And this is a project that started long ago, but first we're going to introduce ourselves. So, well, that's me. I'm Lore Garcia. I come from Antonia de Castechea in Saraut. It's a coastal town in the north of Spain, in the Basque Country. And I participated with my 4 DBA students who will be watching, I guess. I say hello.
So I'm Anna Talamoni, and I already say I'm sorry because I have a cold, and that's because I live in the Netherlands. So especially for the people at home, I'm sorry I need to cough and sneeze sometimes. I live in the Netherlands, nearby Utrecht, Vleuten, and I've been a teacher Spanish for 7 years now in Culemborg at Lekkerlingen, and also 3 years now at the University of Utrecht as a teacher trainer, where I teach and guide students who want to become Spanish teachers in the future.
Okay, so we embarked into a project. Yes, can you please? Yeah, a tandem exchange. And what is a tandem exchange? Well, it could be something like this sometimes because it gets very tricky. But what it really is, please be done that, is the opportunity. The students have the opportunity to engage in interaction with other students whose mother tongue is a native one. In our case, it's a little different because my students, I'm an English teacher, I've been teaching for 25 years now, and my students, they are Basque and Spanish native speakers, and they were assisting Anna's Dutch students, and in exchange, instead of having them talking to us in Dutch, because unfortunately we don't speak Dutch, they would be the teachers in English. Right? So it is a peculiar tandem exchange that we went through. Please? Okay. And this started, I think it's gone, can we go forward? Okay. This started in the year, yeah, exactly, 22-23, when our dear Christy Hardy came, and she's a very enthusiastic person, and she said, would you like to embark in a new adventure? Christy's challenges are always very risky, but they're very interesting too. So we said, yeah, come on, let's go. And this is where I first met my Dave from Lekkerlingen, who's Anna's colleague. And we said, okay, so what is this? So what are we going to do with this E-LIVE project? What is this virtual exchange? And we started at the end of the year, 22-23. We met together virtually. We met all the 6 teachers. And we started with our students at the end of the year. We did 1 asynchronous task and 2 synchronous tasks at the end of the year. And we navigated through the worlds of Frame VR and PDB. At the end of the year, it just took us 3 months, and at the end of the year, we evaluated the experience. And we saw that the students were very happy about it. They had seen that it was a completely different environment. Teachers were also happy. So we decided to continue. It boosted their curiosity, as you can see, but there were also a lot of challenges. And one of them was the technical, different kinds of technical problems that we had. Yeah, can you please go on? Planning was also very important. Pre-task planning was very important, and that was really the key to success. And one more. And of course, all these butterflies in the stomach at the beginning were there, but in the end they became a nice and very cheerful reality.
So why participate? Because they began in the school year 22-23, and I think you already said, a new project, Christy, really enthusiastic. I think most of us, the teachers, often, it triggers panic. If we have like a new project, something big, we always think we have already a lot of work. We barely get our work done, so why a new project? So I think the most important thing is to want to exchange also your enthusiasm and your experiences, and that is where all this began with Lode, Maite and Christy, and now we are with the 5 of us. Also Naidaki, your colleague, Sada, my colleague in Culemborg, and myself, so we are 5, and also a colleague from French who is now presenting in the other room from Lekkerlinge, also is actively participating in E-LIVE. So I think it is like contagious, no? So I think that is the most important thing to say. And that's why we are here. I think we also are all very curious as teachers, so it's very important to attend to this sort of events and also exchange our experiences and motivation. For me personally, I think Rick also told a lot of things in the keynote. Engagement from our students, not only give them textbook or stories, but also let them experience things, build real connections, although online, because now we are also in real life meeting each other and seeing each other. So I think that is really important, and also growing professionally. Yeah, it's get inspiration, but also challenging yourselves. The decisions we made, we kept the tandem. That means English for the students of the Basque Country, and for my students Spanish, between the age of 15 and 17. Can you please go on? And here you can see we had 2 groups from the school from Antoniano, and 1 group in Lekkerlinge. That was a little bit of a challenge, but we will talk about that later on. And we used most of our Padlet for the asynchronous task, and BBB for the synchronous tasks. And we had 4 tasks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now we're going to see some examples. Well, first maybe
the objectives, because we always had these key objectives in mind. First of all, I think we can all relate to this, and we can all understand this. First of all, authentic communication, real communication, learning to know about the other culture by online communication, meaningfulness. That means also keep in mind their own personal interests, the themes they want to talk about. Later on we will tell more about that. Intercultural awareness, engagement and motivation, and we're talking about interaction and collaboration, that they really need each other. And last but not least, lower anxiety levels, that they get more comfortable using a foreign language. I think these are key objectives always to keep in mind when you're organizing an E-LIVE project, I think.
And now we're going to the examples. Okay, just one more. These are the asynchronous examples. You're going to see that they are very simple examples, but simple sometimes works as well. So this is a Padlet. I guess everybody knows this tool. Getting to know each other, so the students are asked to write about themselves a little bit in a Padlet. It's easy. It also lowers the levels of anxiety, because they just have to talk about themselves. And sometimes also post a picture if they are willing to do so. And so the other students read their descriptions and they comment on each other's descriptions. So it's an easy way of to break the ice at the beginning. This would be the Padlet. Then we move on. No, doesn't want to move on? Okay. This was the first task that we designed. It is inside our curriculum in the Basque Country, in the English language subject. And the idea on the first unit, what we teach them is how to make a good art, how to create a memorable art. And the art, in this case, would be to create an art about the school. So, would you like to advertise the school? Would you like to visit my school? And this is what they worked for the whole first unit in the Basque Country. Of course, the last project is to make that video and send it to another school. E-LIVE gives us that chance to send it to a real school and have their feedback. And this is what we propose to them. Shall we include this in the E-LIVE project? So this is what they did. These are the worksheets that we used. So design an memorable art, right? And these were the aspects which were evaluated from the art. And this was done asynchronously, as I said, and that was the first task. As a second task, of course, I guess everybody has done this task. This is a usual Christmas task where students talk about what they do in their own Christmas at home. So we also use Padlet, and the students made some videos of their own personal Christmas. And now we're going to watch 1 minute extract of one of the videos of one of my Basque students. So,
Y atención, prepárense porque llega el momento. ¡Baja la bola!
Y ahora los cuartos.
Y ahora las campanadas.
So they uploaded like photos and videos. If they were talking about a Spanish singer or Spanish historic building, they would just upload the figure of it, or the video, or the photo, and they learned how to do that on their own. And that was something they really enjoyed. They also highlighted the fact that they learned about new technologies, and they really appreciated that. They said that they really found FrameVR a very exciting new tool for them, and they told us as future teachers, because most of them will become teachers, that they saw a very important communicative and pedagogical value in the use of FrameVR. So just briefly, and in conclusion, I will tell you that ICTs in general, but virtual exchange in particular, can provide opportunities for a change in methodology, which I think we all agree that we need. Virtual exchanges are a really interesting tool for teachers and students. Task design is essential in this innovative approach, and I recommend you to attend Anna's workshop later today, because we're going to talk about how to design tasks and what tasks are useful for these virtual exchanges. Students have a very positive view of virtual exchange and reported the benefits of it, and that is very positive. And virtual worlds, and in particular FrameVR, have a very important educational potential. Okay, so those would be my conclusions. Thank you very much for your attention.
So it was a good exercise or a good task for their development in language, but also in their cultural comparison. These are the pictures that the children took in school. So, for example, the bins that we used to trier les déchets, and the bus. My students were really amazed by the bus in England. They all go by bus to school, whereas in the Netherlands they all use their bikes, so they're really enthusiastic about that. And we also had a new ventilation system. They were really enthusiastic about that one. We have a green light if the air is good, and a red light if the... But we did a small task during Christmas. It was the 10 minutes that we had in the busy schedules where we could meet live on Teams. That was really nice because we could put my class on the big screen and the class of Laura as well. And they could ask questions to the other group, which was really nice. At first they were a bit shy and a bit quiet, but then someone saw a soccer shirt or something and he was like, "Oh, do you like football?" And I don't know what happened, but they were all very enthusiastic about football, and they laughed together, which was really nice. And it was a good thing to do synchronously during Christmas time. So there was a little task in between that we did. The students were very enthusiastic. I heard about Laura's group, who was telling me we even added them on Instagram, which is really nice because it was such a small time frame that we did this. So that was really good, I think. And it was a meaningful experience for their language development, cultural-wise, I think, to compare both countries, both cultures actually. And this is what I already stated is different than the normal or the traditional classes, so it was really something extra. Something extra, so that's really nice. What really helped me was the help of Chiara as an E-LIVE coach, and Catherine and Laura, so I would really want to thank them as well for their help. And I would definitely do this again sometimes with Laura in the coming year. If you have any questions, you can pose them maintenant. You can do it now, or maybe through email if you have any questions later on. Thank you.
So, welcome you all. Thank you for being here with us. We are Annika, I'm Eva, and we've been talking about global classrooms, sharing traditions, and celebrations virtually. All right? So, first of all, I come from Valencia, from a school called Guadalaviar. We were presenting 63 students. They were 14 and 15 years old, and their English level ranged from A2 to C1. Okay? We were 3 secondary school teachers involved in this project, and 1 English conversation assistant, and of course the IT department that we needed like every single time we were connecting.
Yeah, and I participated with 32 students from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam, close to Amsterdam, and they had multicultural backgrounds, were between 13 and 15 years old, boys and girls. She teaches as an only girls school,
yes,
so that's a big difference.
in a girls' school.
And I worked together with another trainee teacher, and a teacher assistant, and my colleagues from the IT department. So some background information. We worked together for 2 years, and during the first year we focused on the everyday school lives of the students, and they talked about that a lot, and we really focused on their communicative skills. So having them interact, doing synchronous and asynchronous assignments, having virtual face-to-face conversations. That was a good first step, but we wanted to take another step the next year, and we wanted to make a more focus on a more explicit cultural exchange. So we wanted to focus a bit more on their different cultural backgrounds, share cultural awareness, and embrace diversity. But how do you do that? How do you facilitate authentic and meaningful intercultural communication as a teacher? Well, we tried to work on that by changing the tasks we used in the first year and adding more explicit cultural elements to that. We also worked on our development as teachers and a pedagogical approach. Besides that, we'll also say a bit more about engagement and disengagement and share some dilemmas from our classrooms with you.
Yeah. So basically here we have a little table with what was kept from the first year that we were working together, what we changed and the reason why we did so. Okay, basically the things that were changed because we wanted something that was meaningful to them. Okay, we were talking first about the schools here in the second and third class, and we decided to change to festivities like Christmas. There was a big festivity, and that we thought there was a common festivity for all of us. Okay, and then we narrowed it down to festivities like Fallas and King's Day. Okay, we wanted them to talk about cultural similarities and differences. All right, what we did was we kept the first part. Okay. The first part, the first task was related to getting to know each other. Okay, they love that part. Yes, they love that part because they get to talk about themselves. They were able to send messages in Padlets before than anything else. Okay, so they kind of like broke the ice there a little bit. Okay, so they knew a little bit about their partners before they met them. All right. The fourth task was kept in the structure as well. However, obviously the topic was different because the fourth task was based on the school during the first year that we were working together. But we decided to change it to Christmas. Okay, we wanted to invite the students to use authentic interaction. Right? We thought that the fact that they were talking about something like the culture in their country, okay, as it was the case of the King's Days for the Netherlands or Fallas for us in Valencia, was something that was giving them a lot of freedom to talk about. All right. So, we're missing. Well, this is like within the task, like a little project description, how we put these things together. Okay. Getting to know each other, as I have said, this was the shortest interaction, was only 20 minutes interaction. However, was the most enriching and satisfying interaction for our students as well. They love talking, they're teenagers, so they love talking about themselves. They have big egos at that moment in their lives, okay? So, obviously, we guided them a little bit, just a little bit. We asked them, we helped them to build up like different questions that they could ask in case that they went blank during the interaction. Then they went into the BB room. They were so happy. They were using English or whatever type of English they knew, okay, in that moment, and they were doing so well. So they were so motivated that we said, yes, let's go for Christmas, okay, because that was the time of the year. Interclass was about to happen here, and we had big Christmas in Spain as we are mostly like a Catholic country, okay? So we thought, okay, so they have to ask each other questions, they need to know, they find out about whatever is going on. We thought that this huge festivity was going to be very productive, okay? But we'll see. And then we moved on to task 3 and 4 that they were linked together. The first part, they had to ask each other about King's Days festivity and Fallas festivity and try to find differences and similarities, okay, for them to design an artifact, a final product together, okay? So they had to decide the things they liked from the Netherlands festivity and the things they liked from the one in Spain, put it together, add whatever they wanted, create a new festivity and made up like
more collaborative teamwork, having the students vote for favourite drawings of the animals. So we imagined that the pupils could each individually draw an imaginary animal and write a description, and then as a team choose one animal that would become their team mascot. So that would allow for negotiation of meaning and talking about preferences. And then we've been using with Natalie's school quite a lot a collaborative platform called Story Jumper, which is where the pupils can connect and be in Story Jumper together. They can use text chat and audio chat within the platform, and the visual image is that of a book, and they can drag and drop pictures to make a collaborative photo album. It's not necessarily photos, they can be sketches, but they can say, I would like to have a picture of a lizard, and then place the lizard into the collaborative book. Let's move the lizard to the top right-hand corner, and let's put a tree. And so then they can search for a tree, an image of a tree, and bring that into the book. One of the reasons that we're interested in doing this is to promote more collaboration between them, but also have the final task where we're able to print out these books, and students are going to be able to go back home to their families and show each other what they've been doing in English class. And I say that's one of the really important aspects of the project. One of the reasons for the Padlet was taking what they've been doing inside the primary school classroom outside, so that the parents can connect to the Padlet and have a look at what's been going on, or the parents can reread the books that they produced with the school children. They can go into the school library, they can go into the local village library. The idea is not to keep what we've been doing in the virtual exchange sessions within the school, but trying to involve the whole educational community.
So be flexible. Of course, you need to be flexible because you have to adapt your calendar with your partner, with your Spanish partner. You have to plan your project, it's very important. Plan the lessons with your own pupils. Plan the video conferencing, yes, the video. Be creative because you need to have a lot of ideas with your young people. Don't be afraid like me, because it's not so difficult. And ask help when you need. Thank you very much, Chiara. And share with your colleague. It's very important to share with your colleague.
I was going to just add something that often I think that when we say that we're doing virtual exchange with learners as young as 6, the reaction is, really? What do they do? How do they interact? I would say in France there are 2 obstacles to this. French primary school teachers are experts in all subject areas, so they're not just language experts, but they're experts in all subject areas. And quite often their own language level can be a barrier to being engaged in such exchanges. So as Natalie says, don't be afraid, go for it. And secondly, involving the children, thinking about the classroom setup is extremely important. How to have one group of children interacting via video conferencing with, in this case, Spain, but also the preparation stages. What are the other children going to be doing during the task? And some of the things we've been exploring in the project is how to use listening grids so that they can record their answers and follow the exchange and be involved. So we're trying to think about how to, in terms of the physical setup of the classroom, how to dedicate time to the exchange but involve everybody in the classroom. But I think, as Natalie says, that some of the interactions that we're now analysing from a research perspective are amazing. There's really creative language use. There's actually task management where they're asking their partners to repeat, let's move on. And so I think that we should imagine that 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds are totally able to do these things if the preparation is done correctly, both in terms of resources and classroom and task management language, which I think is really important. Teaching them phrases to ask them to repeat, let's move on, are you sure, etc. So thanks, Natalie, because I think we need more teachers like Natalie who jump in and go for it.
Instead of co-persons. We have seen some wonderful examples about kids communicating with one another using BBB, so with the webcams, they see each other, but they realize that they are in different spots. When we use VR, they are present in the same space. And that's one of the added values of using VR for these kinds of exchanges. Yeah, and of course, if we include cultural artifacts within those scenarios, we will be working on that intercultural aspect. Yeah? So, yeah, low immersion, high immersion. Do you know the difference? Low immersion is when you are using your laptop or computer and then you get the virtual world in your screen. That's low immersion. So you are here and then you look into your screen and you see your avatar and the other avatars, okay? High immersion is when you use the headsets and then you're not looking into a screen. You are in the space. So when you move around, you are not here, you are in the virtual world. And you turn around and you undertake all kinds of things, yeah? So it's an additional dimension to communication. So we included this experience with our undergraduate students. In our case, in Utrecht, they were following Technology Enhanced Language Teaching course. And in your case, they were following Second Language Acquisition course. Okay, and the objectives were to explore the opportunities that VR offers to enrich, in this case, virtual exchange experiences, and analyze these experiences while comparing high versus low immersion activities. Tasks. We have been listening to that the whole morning. Tasks are key. And what are engaging and meaningful tasks? You follow here TBLT, task-based language teaching. So our tasks should be focusing on the meaning, learner-centered, what is interesting for them. There should be an opinion and information gap. They should stimulate authentic communication. They should have a concrete end result. There are different typologies of tasks, and it seems that the most enriching types of tasks are those where students are cooperating in the creation of something together, okay? So that's where more negotiation meaning happens, and these kinds of very important aspects if we are looking into second language acquisition issues. If you're using VR, you should look at the affordances, at the opportunities VR offers you to enrich the communication and interaction. Yeah, so you need to integrate it, as we have seen in the previous examples, in your curriculum. This is not an add-on, oh, let's do that for 5 minutes. No, yeah, it should be the core within the course you offer. And the integration, we do that by offering a tutorial to students so that they know how to manage the virtual world, the goggles, yeah, so that when they are going to communicate, they know what to do and how to do it. And, of course, following TBLT principles, we prepare the students. There is a pre-task phase, then there is an interaction task phase when they are communicating with the peers, and there is a post-task phase when they had to do something with the information they have exchanged or with the artifact they have created, etc., etc., etc. In our case, we developed 5 different tasks. The first task was, obviously, getting to know each other. Classic one. So we use Microsoft Teams for that. Because what we saw in previous experiences is that they needed to see the person they were talking to. They wanted to see their faces. Yeah? And if you use an avatar, you don't see the face. Although, we will see this afternoon in the workshop, they could activate the webcam also in the virtual space. But okay. And then we have 4 tasks. They carried out with one another using VR. 2 of these 2 tasks were carried out in low immersion, so laptop computer, and 2 of them using the high immersion, so the goggles. And we wanted to see how the students feel, how the interaction looks like, okay? So the second one is exploring from VR. They have to go to the Dutch and to the Spanish village and talk about what they see there, cultural artifacts that there are there, take pictures of what they think it is interesting, culturally speaking, and create at the end a Padlet with the pictures they had taken and the whole experience. Yeah? The third task was to talk about the student life and then create a virtual campus within FrameVR, because we have not got a campus there. We have different buildings, but okay, so it was also very relevant for FrameVR. The third one was created by our students in teams, in small groups. So a group chose for family and friends, the other one organized an international party, and the third group of students created food. And they tested these tasks with their peers in VR. Yeah? So the last one, music. This is such a nice topic. It doesn't matter, you know, so whether you are working with students at secondary schools or at university, everybody loves music, right? And has some an opinion about that. So that was also one of the very nice experiences in jazz.
You're wondering why we selected this title. Let me tell you a little bit before about our last year's experience that we had in the virtual exchange. So we decided to work with two groups of second year, which meant that our students were between 13 and 14 years old, so they were quite young. When we started the exchange, we thought, okay, so what do we want to work with them? What are they interested in? So we gave them a survey. And the idea that came from the survey is that they're into sports. I mean, it could be expected, but we saw it, so that's why we decided to do our tasks and our exchange focused on the topic of sports. We decided to do, because we started it at the middle of the year, so we had time to do emailing and video calling. Our students researched about sports that were traditional in their region, in their country, and then they, like, at the beginning they just, it makes it. The emailing, it was the classic, what they say. They introduce themselves, they talk about themselves, about the culture, about things like that. My students sent 2 emails, and they received all the 2 emails. And they really liked it, even if it was it's something that we may think, okay, emailing is not something that fun, but kids are not used to email. In fact, they write all the text at the top, or they do very weird things, and you have to teach them. So that enhances their digital competence, because sometimes we think that, wow, all these things, but then the very basic things, you just go with them to a room, and they don't know how to do them. And they learned how to write an email, and they were very excited, like, when I'm getting my email, because they are used to WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, everything is so immediate, and they had to wait maybe 2-3 days for me and 4 days. So they were like, oh my God, mine is not replying. I got a reply. But they were like, how is this fair? Patience. And then we moved into video calling, the video conferences. Here, we had very high expectations because we thought it was very engaging for the students. It was like, finally they are going to meet their peers, they are going to see how they are, because at the beginning they were like, is it going to be a boy? Is it going to be a girl? I wanted to be a boy. They wanted to be, they were very flirty. They wanted to, they were teenagers. Hormones are working there. So we thought it was a great idea, and it worked, but we discovered that it created also mixed feelings. When we did the video conferencing, a lot of the times when we were doing it, the Dutch students sometimes were not feeling very appealed to be on the video conferencing. So sometimes they just move a little bit outside of the camera, and the Spanish students were in the middle and they couldn't see their peers. So we saw that they were shy and they didn't want to show their face. But even if we had this tiny problem, the exchange worked perfectly. And in fact, we wanted to show you an example of a clip, and that's why we named our presentation after this video. And we have 2 Dutch students and 2 Spanish students, and the Spanish girl, normally in class, I had her last year, she never brought the books, she didn't want to participate, she was not into English, and I want to show you how excited she is and how is she interacting. I mean, her level is not very good, but take into account that we're talking about a person that generally in class doesn't want to interact, doesn't want to participate, or sometimes doesn't even bring the materials.
What? Don't have Snapchat.
Oh.
I have Instagram. Cállate. What? Ellen?
And he leaves the room and he's going for a notebook to write.
One moment.
Look at the resources they are trying to use. Now she doesn't know how to say it, and look what she does.
You can type in the chat.
Writing on the chat.
You can type on the chat what?
You can type in the chat. I have text.
You look. ¿Que la teacher qué? ¿Qué no hacía? Noche. L. ¿Cómo se dice? L. ¿Qué significa testing the check? Es que no lo entiendo. Ven. Repeat.
Can you write in the chat, sí.
Okay, one moment.
El chat está aquí.
Vale. ¿Cómo se pone ahora? ¿Cómo se pone? Yo voy. Pegue. Lo voy a dar aquí. Vale, para. Ahí. Que no, que se falta. Oh, pues ahora voy. Puedo ver. Otra vez. Joder. Así. Ok. Ya estamos.
Resources. She was using the peer, she was using me, she was trying to make herself understood and give him the Instagram account. And in the end, they succeeded. And she was, I mean, in class, if I would have given her a task, she would have said, no, I'm not doing it. So, and you see they're having a lot of fun. They're laughing all the time, they're really enjoying themselves. So even if sometimes we saw that they're shy, as you can see, it can work for a very wide variety of students. So, so we saw that, we reflected a little bit, and we thought, what possibilities do we have for next year? And we decided that a good way to improve what we had would be virtual reality and augmented reality. And that's why this year we're going to be using Frame VR with our students and the classes. So we have decided to ask our students what are their opinions on virtual reality. And the first question I wanted to ask them was if they had any previous experience. Now you're going to see 6 students from Spain talking about their experience if they have an experience in virtual reality. I want you to bear in mind they are young, their English is, I mean, good for their age, but they are asked questions that are not normal, so the answers are going to be very short, but I mean, I'm sure you're going to
No, I haven't.
Yes, in the Museum of the Arts and the Series.
No, I don't have any experience.
No, I haven't any experience.
Yes, when I was little, I had a dear Iron Man headset.
No, I haven't.
So as you can see, as the university students, most of them don't have any experience, even if they're used to digital sources, they have access to everything on their laptop, but they do not have any experience. And because they have it's very little, the Museum of the Arts and Sciences is something we have in Valencia, where they go and can do some, they say that they don't have. Then I asked them, what did they think about VR? What were the expectations, their ideas? And these are their answers. Sorry.
I think it's an opportunity to interact with people.
I like because it is a fun way to learn English.
It is a different way to learn English.
I think it's a different way to see the world and interacting.
I think it's fun and interesting to learn English. It's another fun to learn.
So you see all of them are mentioned, it's a different way to learn. They're very focused on English and they want to learn. I think it's a very different way to learn. So after that, we asked them as well, because we were very aware about the previous question that they were a little bit shy. The Spanish ones didn't seem to complain that much. But let's take a look at the video because I asked them, what do you think about interacting with someone that you don't know face to face? And even if the Spanish didn't mind appearing in the video conferencing, look at the answers.
It's a bit embarrassing, but it's a good idea to learn English.
It was a bit embarrassing and I am shy.
I'm shy, but it's a very opportunity.
I'm a bit shy, but I think it's a good way to improve English and communication.
It was a bit uncomfortable. Embarrassing because I'm shy.
So as you see, I mean, they did the task, they put their faces there, but they were feeling very shy and very embarrassed about the activity because they are teenagers, they are very self-aware of how they look, of what impression they are giving to the other person. And then after that we thought, okay, so would it help you to interact with the stranger if you're using an avatar, a virtual world? And the answers were this.
Yes, because I will feel more comfortable.
Yes, because you feel safer and more secure.
Yes, because you feel more relaxed.
Yes, because you feel more comfortable and safer.
Yes, because I feel more comfortable.
So as you see, their impressions were that they were going to feel more relaxed and more at ease. And finally, the other question that I asked them, what was their opinion about virtual exchanges, like in general, what do they think about this? And this is what they told us.
I thought I will go to the Netherlands and they will come here to Spain.
I want a good and funny person.
I was excited. I thought it would be fun to meet Dutch people.
I was excited because I like this type of project.
I thought I was going to the Netherlands.
So as you see, when they hear exchange and Erasmus, they always think about moving, and there are many other ways they are doing this and they are very excited. So it's very nice that we change this perception of just going there and they coming here. So why do we want to use the VR? Because we thought it was a fun, motivating way to do the exchange this year, because it also allows gamification inside a task, and kids love everything that is similar to a game. Because it enhances our students' creativity. As you were saying, they can create their own avatars, so you can customize it. And what better way to reflect how you feel and how you are than creating it, like saying, maybe I don't want to appear there, but if I create my avatar and I'm expressing how I feel myself, how do I see myself, and how others are going to see me. So it's a very nice way for kids to use. They will obviously be less self-aware and feel less anxiety and stress. And as they've mentioned, the climate would be safer for them because they are not showing their faces. And this brings me to something also we started in the presentation. They were talking about Instagram, social media. If you think about social media, what do they do in social media nowadays? Like, they really don't show their faces. They select pictures very concrete things, and they type a lot. They use a lot of audio, and if we think about VR, it's as well audio and typing, so it's very close to what they are used to the social media. Here we also have some impressions of the students, because I asked them to go to the charla that you've heard of it before. It's the Spanish village. We are aware that here they know they are being recorded, and it's a nice performance what they did.
Look, Nemo, I am ready. Oh, it's so exciting.
This is great.
Yes, I like it.
they were recorded, so they did that, but I can tell you when they started, they were so excited, like, I can move here, look at this, look at that. They very, very excited. And I asked them to give feedback, like positive and negative, what things they like and what things they didn't like, and this is what they say.
It's a good day that represents Valencia.
For example, the cafeteria and the kiosco. We want more places.
And more examples of food like churros or paella.
And more decoration inside the houses.
So this is something that the university once said, that it surprised me when you were saying it. I mean, they're kids, they want lots of things, more things, but in general, they really liked it. What are we going to do this year? We decided to select a very different topic, that it's environment, because it's in the curriculum, and nowadays it's like, it's in the news, on the media, everywhere, and we think they can talk about it. Sorry, it's not. Okay. So we have 5 VR glasses per group, and we think that's manageable, because if we put glasses to all the kids, that can be very chaotic. We have many students in the class, and that can be crazy. So 5, it's very manageable, and we can do it. And we decided that, as they said, VR has many options, but what we decided to go for, it's like a sort of presentation inside the virtual world. So what are we going to ask them? Here, there's a virtual world, but we don't have time. So you'll see some of the worlds in the workshop that you're going to have now. But we decided that they research about environmental issues in their area, in their houses, all the information that they can get. And in pairs, a Dutch student and a Spanish student, they have to create a presentation. They can choose whatever format they want. It can be a Padlet, it can be a video, and then put it in the virtual world. And then what they will do is go around, move around the environment, and check what the others have done and discuss it. And see what similarities, what differences they find, what shocked them the most. So in that way, they see what the others have been doing. And here, before we finish, my students wanted to say a goodbye. They were very excited about the recording.
How much sessions do you have planned this year?
So I mean, we wanted to do it like quite long, because we saw that the email thing worked. So we want to start with emails again. And when I told them like we're starting with emails, they oh, okay, good now, because they know I'm working with the same group. So they were very at ease of doing something that they did last year. Then a little bit as well of video conferencing, and then the virtual world. So we were thinking, I mean, as many lessons as we could. But as most of you may know, sometimes matching timetables with other countries is super complex and very difficult. And for the synchronous task, we'll have to see how it goes during the year.
How did you manage to do that? To synchronize the timetables? To find time slots that were suitable?
So that's very difficult. I know that in some schools, teachers have their hours and they have to stick to those. Luckily, in my school, they've been very supportive. And when I told them like, okay, I have a free hour now, I check the hour that my peer Marlene gave me. And I told my colleague, so now they are in history. So I went to the history class and I said to my colleague, Andres, do you mind if I take some of the kids out now, because we're going to do this task? And they were very nice and very lovely. So all my colleagues allowed me their time to do my project, and they say no trouble, take them as many time as you need to. So, but I think that it needs to be like you have to have nice colleagues and the school needs to help you. But I mean, when my colleagues ask me for things, I also help them. So I mean, if the environment and the school is nice, I think it can work very well.
That's great to hear. I mean, this is the objective of the project.
Yeah, that is sustainable. Yeah, but even if we're not here, they are not here, and we're not here anymore, we can continue doing it.
Bravo.
But we are very proud of our teachers. Yeah.
I work as a 3D LES, which means three-dimensional learning experience services, but just call it 3D LES, it's okay. I am the technical guy from this project, so I don't know anything about pedagogical blah blah blah. I'm the one that does all the technical.
A long day. It is a long day.
A long day. It was a long day, yeah? Yes, and I've been doing this for 15 years already. From 2000. What was it? 2008. I started, and I did 3 projects with Christy: the TILA project and the Tekola project, and now the E-LIVE project. And I've been doing this. Working and creating virtual worlds, and in the virtual worlds that we used in the previous projects, they were created in Open Simulator. Why did we use virtual worlds in this project? Well, you have seen already several movies and videos of students using this virtual world, which was great. And why? Because they can meet each other when they are from a long distance. So we had schools from Valencia talking to a school in the Netherlands, and in England, and in Culemborg in the Netherlands. And they will meet sometimes with video conferencing, but they also meet in, for instance, Chatterdale. It's our English language village. And Chatterdale is one of the oldest villages that I've created. Chatterdale 15 years ago. And this is a smaller version of the Chatterdale because we use iPhones and headsets. The virtual environments had to be a little bit smaller so it can be loaded on these devices. So what can a student do? Yeah, you have seen it already. They can talk with each other with headsets about topics and discussions. Well, there are a lot of information can be found on our website how to create such experience. But they can also use a webcam. They can share screens. They can upload and share presentations. They can watch a website together or video together, synchronous. So if you play a video, then everybody sees the same video at the same time, which is great. And why did we choose for Frame VR? Well, we had some considerations because there are many virtual environments on offer. But Frame VR is the one that doesn't have the age limit of 18 or up. So you can also, with younger children, go into Frame VR. That's why we chose for Frame VR. And we found that Frame VR is actually a very good to work with your students, because it's quite easy also for teachers. When you are in this environment, as a teacher, you can very easily put a image on a wall or put a presentation PDF on somewhere so that they can switch and look around. It's very easy for teachers to work with. That we have the VR headsets. This is the latest one, the Quest 3, and but it's also mixed. So you can have people logging with a PC, and another one can be with a headset, and another one can be on an iPhone, and they can still have conversations and do tasks online. We created, or actually I created, several virtual environments, villages. And of course, Chatterdale, which is the oldest one, And the latest one is Babbeldam. And Babbeldam is a village with some Dutch things, as you can see. The Zaanse Schans and a Dutch windmill, but there's also tourist information. And in Chatterdale you can find that, you've already seen that in the presentations. There was a police station and fish and chips and the church and Boots, pharmacy. And the last one is Arcadia, and Arcadia is not an island for the language, but it's more an island to learn to work with Frame VR. So you can go into the castle and then you walk and you see signs and say, okay, if you click like this or you do like this, then you can open a document, or you can snap an image to a wall. That's all explained with videos, and these videos are all on our YouTube channel and on our website also. From the E-LIVE project, we have a lot of videos explaining what you can do and how you can do, and it's all short videos. Like how can I put an image on a wall? It's explained in a few minutes, so you can pick whatever you are looking for. Okay? I told you about the robot. When you start in Frame VR, you are always the robot. You can have different colors, it could be green and yellow and whatever, but you can also change your avatar into a human. It's very easy to work with for educators, and I think the ones that already worked with Frame VR, well, they know that it's true. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Bart says yes. It's true. Christy, yes. Yes. Yeah, Maite, yes. Okay, I have a yes.
Green light.
Yes, so far.
Now this VR headset is a Meta Quest 3. You can, if you still have an old Meta Quest 2, you can also still go on the virtual world. It's slower, of course, and but this 3 is not the latest one. There's a new one coming, and that's the Meta Quest 3S. But if you have a Quest 2, which I have at home, and you have glasses prescription, I have prescription. Oh my God! Prescription glasses in my headset, then I can take them out and put them also in the 3S. Yes, so that's easy, but the quality of the pixels it's a bit less than the S, the 3, the Quest 3. Now, if you use a Frame VR with your headset, then we use the browser which is in the headset. And people that are going to try it later on, first you see a normal browser when you put the headset on. Now, what's very important, this is my hands-on already for you, is that you put on the microphone if you want to talk before you go into 360 mode. Because when you are in 360 mode, it's quite difficult to find where I turn on my microphone. Because then in a 360 mode, you are surrounded by an environment, and where's the menu? Of course, there is a menu, but it's better to put on your microphone, and then you go into 360 mode by clicking on the little icon at the right, the goggles thing, and then you are in 360 mode. And in 360 mode, you want to move, and for moving, you use the left handler, this one, and then you can push it, the little joystick which is on the top. You push it forwards, and then you see this appearing, a line and a blue circle, and then when you let go of your little joystick, then you jump there automatically. So it's not so that you walk to that, but you jump there. Oh, this I already explained. That when we are in Babbeldam, this won't work, and then you can have this avatar, or you can. He's a bit annoyed about it.
Yeah.
But and what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And this avatar, that's the way you look when you are on 360 mode. So you don't see this, but this is the avatar, and the hands is like this. So when you wave your hands, you see these two hands go. Click on the Go To button, which you see at the top. And if you click on that, then this window will open, and then you can see all the different villages that I have created. Or you can go directly to the multiplier event area, which, or you can go to Frame VR in the classroom area. So it's all there. You can just jump there and explore it. And also in the other villages, just find the Go To button, and then you can jump to another island. So you can jump to all the islands, but all the islands are limited for 8 people. Now, for somebody, if you want to walk around, the only thing you have to know is that you can use the arrows of your keyboard, or you can use these buttons, the W and the S to go forwards and backwards, the Q and the E to strive from left or right, and the A and the D to turn around left and right. And for people with a French or a Belgian keyboard, it's the A, Z, E and the Q, S, D. And as you can see now already, Saskia and Christy and a guest are logging in. And as you see, when I click on the Go To button, you see here all the areas that you can go to. And now I can walk to the virtual cafe, or I can click on Go To. I will now walk to my streaming screen. As you can see here, I'm streaming myself now. So the stream that the people see at home, they also see here. You see this in the virtual environment. This is my iPhone, and you see on my iPhone there is a blue button here, and this one you use for walking. And if you want more information, you can find a lot of signs here with information about the E-LIVE project, about the Frame VR in the classroom website, information about VR headsets, and even a page to the consortium partner and the previous Tecola project. On an iPhone, it's sometimes difficult to run around. So if there are people that want to try a VR headset, we have 6 of them laying over there, 7, and you can put it on and walk around in anything. So Bart, yeah, I've got the area, so maybe Bart can help.
Welcome back. We're now continuing with an inspirational session, a food for thought on multilingualism, on interculturality, on language and identity. And I'd like to welcome Najat and her son Akram. Please come forward.
Dankjewel. Hallo allemaal, mijn naam is Shytyk en ik ben programmamanager bij Samenleving en Diversiteit. En
een heel mooi programma wat gefund wordt door ASML en waarin ik ook het stukje moedertaalontwikkeling inzet voor ondersteuning voor kinderen in het basisonderwijs. Ik mag jullie vandaag meenemen in een stukje taal en identiteit. Zoals we allemaal weten is taal nauw verbonden met cultuur en de tradities van een gemeenschap. Dus het is veel meer dan een communicatiemiddel. Door taal leer je de verhalen. Lukt het? Ja? Door taal leer je de verhalen, waarden en normen van je cultuur kennen. En wanneer je een bepaalde taal spreekt, draag je ook de culturele bagage van die taal mee. En dat is natuurlijk heel erg belangrijk voor de diepe verbinding die je hebt met cultuur en de taal. Nou, ik neem jullie zo meteen mee in een aantal aspecten. We gaan straks door op non-verbale communicatie, een stukje muziek en de taal een onderdeel van je identiteit. En ik heb mijn zoon Ahmed ook meegenomen die een eigen ervaring met jullie gaat delen over zijn moedertaalontwikkeling. Ja, de volgende non-verbale communicatie.
Oh, sorry.
Ja, nee, ja, de volgende. Ja.
Yes.
Mag ik jou het woord geven, Frank?
Yes. So we are going to do a little experiment. We all see a football here, and I'm going to ask you some closed questions, and you need to nod yes or shake no with your hand. Okay? Okay, is it a square? No. Do you have them in different brands? Is this one blue? Is it round? Is it sticky? Is this one yellow? Is it hard on the outside? Is this one red? Can you buy it? Can you cuddle it? Is this one black and white? Yes. Is this one, do they also exist in multiple colors? Can you buy it at a sports store? Can it be made of leather? Can you eat it? Is it an animal? Can it talk? Do you need it when you play football? Is it hollow inside? Is it bigger than a meter? No. Okay. Now we are going to turn it the other way around. So no becomes yes, and yes becomes no. So you need to think fast now.
Oh, okay.
Yes? Okay, let's get started. Is it square? Yes. Do you have them in different brands? Is this one blue?
Yes.
Is it round?
No.
Is it sticky?
Yes.
Is it yellow?
Yes.
Is it hard on the outside?
No.
Can you buy it?
No. Yes.
Can you color it? Is this one black and white? Do they also exist in multiple colors?
No.
Can you buy it in a sports store?
No.
Can it be made of leather?
No.
Can you eat it?
Yes.
Is it an animal? Is it an animal?
Yes.
Can it talk?
Yes.
Do you need it when you play football?
No.
Is it hollow inside?
No. Yes.
And is it bigger than a meter?
Yes.
Hoe was dit om te doen?
Moeilijk.
Moeilijk? Wat vond je moeilijk?
Ja, dan moet ik dubbel denken.
Je moet dubbel denken. Ja. Wie vond het heel makkelijk? De eerste sessie. De eerste sessie was makkelijk. Ja. En de tweede sessie was nog moeilijker. Ja. En zo zien we dat ook non-verbale communicatie iets vanuit je moedertaal, vanuit je cultuur bepaald is. Je hebt ooit geleerd dat dit ja is en dit nee. En als je ineens wordt gevraagd om iets anders te doen, dan is dat toch niet zo 1, 2, 3 gedaan. Maar dit is wel wat we vaak vragen van leerlingen die vanuit een andere cultuur in een klas komen. Waarin wij zeggen, ja maar zo doen we dat toch gewoon? Het is toch ja knikken en nee knikken. Maar ook non-verbale communicatie is cultureel bepaald. Dat wat je van thuis uit mee hebt gekregen, dat zit in je DNA. Dat kun je niet zomaar van de een op de andere dag veranderen. Dus daarom wilden we jullie dit experimentje even laten ervaren, hoe moeilijk het is om ook maar een hele kleine verandering te wijzigen. Als je denkt aan moedertaalontwikkeling, dan heb je het over identiteiten, je hebt het over cultuur, je hebt het over heel veel dingen. Maar daar komt muziek ook bij kijken. Ik heb 3 muziekfragmenten en ik wil jullie vragen om je hand op te steken als je bij het muziekfragment een herinnering hebt of een gevoel wat bij je loskomt. Dus spreekt het muziekstukje je aan, mag je je hand opsteken. Ik ben heel benieuwd. En waarom je dan je hand opgestoken hebt. Ja, het eerste is het muziekfragmentje.
Je bent op deze wereld, de zal je moeten vechten, net als die heer. Je kan het weten, het leven is niet makkelijk, er is tegenspoed op ieder ogenblik.
Wie vond het muziekstukje, bij wie deed het wat? Wie had er een herinnering aan? Of veel herinneringen aan?
Ja, dat is André, hè? Dus dat kennen wij in de Nederlandse cultuur met elkaar wel. Als die, toen hij nog bij leven was, wat verguisde zanger en nu die dood is, toch wel een soort van icoon in onze cultuur.
Ja. Waar je ook mooie herinneringen aan
hebt?
hebt?
Waar je ook mee kan. Je kent die teksten.
Je kent de teksten.
Want zij gelooft.
Ja, hij gaat helemaal los. Ja, mooi. Ja, dit is inderdaad een stukje cultuur. Het is meer dan taal. Het roept iets bij je op, een ervaring. Je voelt er iets bij. Dat is heel mooi om te horen. Dankjewel. Het volgende stukje.
يا حبيبي أنا يا حياتي كلنا الحب سوا
Jullie gingen niet los, ik wilde hier dansen, maar ik zag niks gebeuren.
Geen actieve herinnering.
Geen actieve herinnering, ja. Nee. Wie had zoiets van ja? Ik heb nooit gehoord. Meneer?
Wij zijn een keer in Marokko geweest en daar hebben we heel veel van die muziek gehoord en dan wordt er ook op gedanst. En ja, dus wij dachten gelijk, oh, dit is onze vakantie in Marokko.
Ja, een herinnering. Mooi. Dat was Kulthum, een van de grootheden van de Arabische muziek. Volgende. Ik zie daar iets gebeuren. Feestje.
Mijn Zumba-les.
En zijn dat mooie herinneringen?
Ja, nog steeds.
Nog steeds, ja, oké. En wie heeft er ook een Spaanse achtergrond?
Ja.
Heel mensen hier. En wat was het voor u als herinnering?
Feesten. Wij zijn tegen elkaar tot 4 uur 's nachts in de disco.
Oké, dus er komen meteen herinneringen. Mooi, dankjewel. En zo zie je maar dat muziek, als je de teksten kunt verstaan, het ooit gehoord hebt, als je ermee bent opgegroeid, dan gebeurt er ineens iets met je. Dus ook dit is cultuur, identiteit en taalontwikkeling. Ja. De relatie tussen taal en identiteit is complex. Er zijn meerdere dus ja, stukken waar, waar je toch ook heel veel over kunt vertellen als je het hebt over taal en identiteit. Bijvoorbeeld, als je kijkt naar culturele identiteit. Je moedertaal is verbonden met de cultuur van een persoon. Je leert niet alleen taal in de zin van grammatica, maar ook waarden, normen, tradities, die heel belangrijk zijn, die je meekrijgt vanuit je cultuur. Wanneer mensen hun moedertaal goed spreken, dan voelen ze zich ook verbonden met de culturele achtergrond die ze dragen. Maar het doet ook iets met de sociale identiteit. Taal is een middel waarmee mensen zich kunnen onderscheiden binnen een gemeenschap. Je kunt, doordat je een bepaalde taal spreekt, je positioneren in een groep. Maar ook voor je individuele identiteit. Dit stukje is van mij. Hier ben ik heel trots op. Dit heb ik meegekregen van thuis. En dat doet iets met je zelfvertrouwen weer. Hoe vaak heb ik mensen horen zeggen, mag ik het alsjeblieft in mijn eigen taal zeggen? Want dan gaat het veel makkelijker. Want toen Bart mij vroeg om hier iets te komen vertellen over die moedertaal, en hij vroeg in het begin, kan het in het Engels? Ik zeg, het kan wel, maar dan sta ik er niet vanuit mijn gevoel. En dat is toch weer meer het Nederlands, wat ja, ook eigenlijk mijn moedertaal is. Dus het zelfvertrouwen is ook groter als je weet welke woorden je kunt gebruiken, als je woordenschat groot is, etc. Opgroeien in een meertalige context, dus in een meertalige samenleving, kan ook zorgen voor complexiteit. Complex voor je moedertaalontwikkeling. Want waar hoor je nu bij? Wat is nu de taal waar ik me in ga verdiepen? Daar gaat mijn zoon straks iets over vertellen. En dan heb je de politieke en sociale dynamieken. In sommige contexten kun je heel trots zijn op je moedertaal. Want dit is mijn taal en ik ben er trots op. Maar er zijn ook contexten waarbij je je juist heel klein voelt. Waarbij je uitgesloten voelt. Waarbij je het gevoel hebt dat je gediscrimineerd wordt. Ik weet nog dat ik als kind, hoe vaak ik heb gehoord van, oh, je moeder spreekt niet eens goed Nederlands. Dat blijft dan toch hangen. Het gevoel van, ik hoor er toch niet helemaal bij. Dus die moedertaalontwikkeling is toch wel complex. En je moedertaal meegeven is ook niet altijd even makkelijk. En daar mag Abraham iets over vertellen.
In English. Well, what I'm going to tell is actually a little bit a painful story about an insecurity of mine, caused by the one and only my mom. You know how parents always say they want the best for their kids? Well, my mom wanted me to blend in so much that she forgot the one and only thing that would help me fit in my own family, their language. I was born and raised in the Netherlands, where Dutch quickly became my first language. But every time we visited family in Morocco, I felt totally out of place. My family would speak to me in Arabic, but I would stand there like a confused boy, not knowing a word they said. I couldn't even hold a simple conversation with my own grandmother, and that's a painful thing. It's one of the biggest insecurities I've had in growing up, not feeling really connected to my own roots. While most of my friends could speak to their family back home, I just had to rely on translating and nodding along. And let me tell you, nodding only gets you nowhere in a conversation. We saw that in the experiment. Still, this experience has also taught me the value of culture and language. Although I didn't have to learn the language at home, it's now never too late to still learn it. and I'm slowly reconnecting with with that part of me, and yeah, bit by bit I'm learning and laughing at the little mistakes along the way.
Somebody saying no? No, everybody's saying yes.
Well, now we don't know how to say yes and no anymore.
Yeah, so excellent. Now, during the whole presentations, we have been listening to languages, engagement, motivation, frame VR, design, virtual exchange, of course. All are these key issues within the work we have been doing in these 3 years. Okay, so E-LIVE, we will be finalizing the project in December, so we have still 2 months to go. Okay, and we have created many rich resources. So you have plenty of information to learn yourself about what virtual exchange is about digital literacies, about intercultural communication. So do have a look at the digital education modules we have here. They are also interactive, connected to Padlet so that everybody can be working on that internationally. The tasks are very important. We have created more than 25 tasks per language, and they have been uploaded into the website already. Okay, and we have also created tasks for pre-service teachers who have been using and experiencing this virtual exchange themselves. And we have many more things. So do please have a look at this resources site. Okay. Here are again the different tasks. When you click on the English tasks, for instance, for secondary education, you have here the level, the title of the task, the level. You can be using with the students, which kind of tool we have been using, a summary of the activities, and when you click here, then the whole task description gets open. Okay? So, and many people are asking, is there a new project coming? So the idea is that we have been doing so much. We started experimenting in 2005. Our first project was in 2008. So it is a long time ago. And if you have been listening to the teachers, to the teacher trainers, to the students, I think that, okay, sustainability is a reality. The head teachers have also been saying how enthusiastic they are also about these kinds of projects. So I think that with the resources, with experienced teachers who are our ambassadors, I think that this can be also the future of language teaching. Okay, so that's a little bit the end of E-LIVE. I want to thank, of course, all the teachers presenting here. I want to thank Rick de Graaf for the wonderful keynote. I want to thank, actually everybody. Also those colleagues participating in the round table, which I think it has been, because it is about sustainability and scalability, about the future. Because the E-LIVE project ends, but we want you to continue further. So thank you, everybody. Thank you also to those watching this online. Okay, I hope that you got inspired as well. And now I would like to thank a couple of people, yes, please, who have been working very, very hard to make this possible. And here my colleague, Silvia Canto. Okay, please come here. Okay. because this kind of work, you don't do it in a couple of days. I think that there are a couple of colleagues who have been working very, very hard this weekend, yesterday until 1 o'clock at night. So, yeah, Meringue, thank you so much. And not only that, we have somebody also here making recordings, very nice recordings. This will be also uploaded into our website. And this very special person is Alexander. Yeah. I have some little flowers here because, well, we have organized this in Nuenen's College. And Nuenen's College without Bart, conference without Bart would have been impossible. So we have very nice, I hope you like them, flowers. We still have something for a trio, which is this different kind of beer. And this is, of course, for Michael, who has been also helping with the streaming, Bart, and Meringue.
No, because, well, this was a very special day for me. Today I realized that a lot of people that I know from different worlds, so to say, came together here at my school. People, colleagues from other the university I work at, colleagues from this school, friends, family, people I used to work with, or people I interviewed for a documentary. And I'm very glad to have had the opportunity to show them this school, this venue. And this day could not have been possible without the help of so many people. Christy already kind of mentioned some words, some people because of this. But from my part, I also would like to thank Marijn again. Sorry, he's been a very close friend and he's really, really helped me out here. So please give it up for Marie, who has been taking care of us for today as a host. So also thank you for you. And yes, obviously, Christy, as the leader of our And then a special thanks to the people who've been contributing to this day as a keynote speaker or a session or a workshop. I'd like to have the ones that are still here to please come forward because we have some gifts for you. So please come forward, Rick, Annabella, Lode, Miron, Nathalie, Annika, Eva, Diego, Maite, Ingrid, en Manoï.
Zeg gewoon dat wij moeten blijven zitten.
Sorry. Begonia, could you please take the box to here so I can hand out the gift bags? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay, so thank you very much. And also thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Gymnastics here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ooh, that's wow. And the last one. Thank you very much. And this this is the end of our multiplier event in Nuenen. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and hopefully we'll see each other another time. Sorry.
Thanks very much, everybody. So, as you have heard today, E-LIVE has been a project that's been running for the past 3 years, and unfortunately, the financing for E-LIVE ends at the end of this academic year, year in December. So what the purpose of this roundtable really was to bring together different stakeholders in virtual exchange to try to think together, how can we make virtual exchange sustainable beyond European projects, beyond Erasmus Plus projects? How can we make everything we've been doing within this initiative sustainable so that we can reach a diverse group of learners in other countries, within our own countries, for longer periods of time? So we're going to start, I'm just going to ask each of the stakeholders, even if you've seen them today, if we have people joining or rewatching the video online afterwards, if you could just in 30 seconds introduce yourself. Who are you in terms of your role, and what's your relationship today with virtual exchange?
Okay, I'm Luc van Wiers. I work at Lekkerlingen Culemborg as a director of the school. And we've got Miriam and Maite and Anna and Sarah, she's not here. But they really invest in using the E-LIVE program to make connections with other schools. And I'm proud of that, and I love it, and I hope it will be continued.
Thanks.
My name is Rick de Graaf. I'm a professor of foreign language teaching at Utrecht University, and I was one of the speakers earlier today, and I've been involved in several of the projects which are related to the E-LIVE project.
I'm Ingrid Vogels. I am the Director of Education at het Vioretti College in Veckel. And 2 years ago I was a colleague of Bart, and he invited me today here.
Does this work? Yeah. My name is Lore Garcia. I come from Antoniano Caspeche in Sarauz, in Spain, in the north of Spain. And I've been involved with E-LIVE project since 22-23, the year 22-23. I'm working with Lekkerlingen School, and I wish to continue working with them.
My name is Diego López Bozo. I come from the Basque Country as well. I am the director at Oriarte Institutua, in the outskirts of San Sebastian. And we're starting with a new direction project, and the idea is to focus a little bit on internationalization. So I was thinking of exchanges, virtual exchanges, and through Lore I found about this conference and said, I got an invitation. Here I am, ready to learn how to start on this. I'm excited.
Hello, I'm Ana Peris. I come from Valencia. I'm a secondary education teacher. I'm a member of the E-LIVE project, and as well I participated in these exchanges as a teacher. So that's my involvement.
Thanks. So when the microphone is down that end, perhaps I can start by asking the two teacher participants, how did your school support you in the exchange? And what were the challenges where you felt that you could have more support?
For me, it's sorry.
Oh,
For me, it's maybe easier also because I'm part of the management group in my school. So I felt supported by the management from the beginning. It was actually management who decided to participate in the project. Challenges that I found were mostly technical because at the beginning Wi-Fi maybe didn't work, or maybe we had problems with the connection as well. But otherwise I felt quite free and quite responsible for this project, and it was easy for me to tackle all the challenges at the moment.
So my school was very open. In fact, it was me who brought the project to them, and they accepted like with open arms. Like they were very okay with it. They were very supportive. They helped with when I said, so I need the following hours, and I need to ask other colleagues. So they've been helping a lot. And the challenges, I would say as well, are very related not with the school management and my colleagues, they are more related with the technical stuff and support, and maybe that my complaint wouldn't be about the school per se, it would be like the government in our area, because in our high schools we have like some things that cut certain web pages, and we've kept on telling them that we need those pages open because there are resources that we use for the exchanges, and they say, yeah, the problem is fixed, and it hasn't been fixed. So maybe, I don't know if it's on in Valencia.
No, firewalls are everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe when these projects are implemented into schools, higher instances should like be faster in opening those accesses and allowing high schools to work in a more natural or free way.
Okay, so we have teachers who are enthused, who want to set up virtual exchanges. The word I'm hearing here is technology. I'm looking at the head teachers, the direction. How do you react to this? How can we better support the enthusiastic teachers who want to do these types of exchanges in your schools? Or how have you supported in terms of looking at me?
Well, if you start such a project, it's of course important that the connection and the technical works. And in my school, on the hand, we have to be aware of safety. So those firewalls are an issue, but they're not there to make it impossible for you. They are there to make it safe. And I think that the technical guys at the school or at the government have to find a solution to be both safe, because that's important too, and to let the project go on. Now this project is going on for 3 years, and I heard during the day a lot of moments where it happened, so it can be done, and let's make sure together that it will be done and that it will be fixed.
And if introducing virtual exchange within your school, do you think there'll be technical barriers? How can we overcome them?
I think there are technical barriers, like every school, but when we find it important enough, then we have to fix it.
And perhaps going back to the teachers, how can we, so in some schools there are individual teachers who've been taking part in E-LIVE, in other schools there have been several teachers. How can we enthuse other colleagues to come on board once the project's over?
Oops, no, sorry. Sorry. I think the most important thing for school is for the teacher not to feel alone. So sometimes when you start with a new project, sometimes people can say, oh, this is Lore's project, for example, or it's maybe the project of a certain department. And I think an important thing is to say that it's a school project and make it meaningful for the school. If you make that, then everybody can understand that it's a project which is important and valuable for the school. Then your colleagues are going maybe to ask you about the project, and you will tell them how you're doing. And the best way, I think, to motivate others is to tell them to participate with you, and then see what you're doing. And then this way they might want to participate as well. And when they see the enthusiasm, and they see the results, and they see the kids who are enjoying the project, then they also want to participate. So at the beginning it might be just a little drop that is going to expand into an ocean.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. Once you have someone who is there, you just maybe say them like, come over and see what we're doing. See it for yourself, or maybe even the videos, the things that we have that can show them how it's working, how kids are reacting, that it's not as difficult as it may seem. I'm telling them like, I'm here if you need anything and you want to give it a try. I'm going to be here to go with you, to support you, and to do it as a group thing in the high school.
And so both of you received support from the E-LIVE project in setting up your exchanges. Diego, I'm wondering, do you think virtual exchange is feasible in a school that would want to embark on such a project, but if the overall Erasmus Plus initiative has ended, does this seem something that's feasible for you in your school or not?
What I've seen today, I said in one of the talks that I was here to learn, and what I've seen today, I think the platform is there, so if the media is there, we can use it. Of course, the important support from E-LIVE, the coaching part, will not be there, and that's a pity. Yeah, but well, in my case, I know who to ask, so, so I will get help from there. And I think it's a very nice way to get in contact, to get the students in contact with students from abroad, and to work together. And I don't know, in many ways, working together with people from different nationalities and different cultures is something we should encourage for many reasons nowadays. So I think it's very, very important.
In terms of school direction, so all three stakeholders involved in school direction, is there enough flexibility within the different geographical areas within which you work? I have the feeling personally that perhaps in the Netherlands we have a slightly more flexibility than in France, where I come from, to introduce innovation and new programs. Maybe I'm wrong, but in Spain, in the Basque Country, is this
well, in Spain,
flexibility?
it's different in each region. Yes, each region has the autonomy to do it differently. I've been talking to Anna before, and there are differences in the way they do it and the way we do it. In our case, it's quite simple to implement something new. Yes, if the management team agrees with it, and usually the management team will work with a team of teachers, and yes, quite simple. If we agree that it's important for the school, we wouldn't get problems from the authorities. So.
And perhaps, do you have advice about for other head teachers who want to introduce virtual exchange after? Because in your school it started with one project and then it scaled up to several projects. So what advice would you give to stakeholders?
My advice would be hire Maite. She's already... No, I think we've got a small fire going on right now, and so the enthusiasm is over there. And now if someone new wants to start, the problem is not the technical, all students have laptops, that will be solved. The problem is more how to find another school. And we've got Erasmus coordinators, so people that help with Erasmus projects. And I think that they might be able to help language teachers to find a new school. And I also think that we do more exchanges because of the Erasmus finance. And maybe we can make this kind of exchange a part of the bigger real exchange. So maybe that in advance you meet each other, then you see each other in real life, and then you see each other again in the online environment. And I think that it's very powerful, and it is also sustainable. So people will see that, and if you want to have a new Erasmus project, then the culture have to be, then this is a part of the job. This is what belongs to an Erasmus project.
Which brings me on to teacher training, because I think if we're talking about it being part of the job, part of our regular everyday pedagogy and what we're putting into place, that needs to start with teacher training. So Rick, how could we integrate this in a sustainable way into teacher training so that when teachers are first in post, this is something they do as they would do a listening exercise? Or
I don't know if I need both microphones. Stereo. Well, for our student teachers, we see it works best if they can apply their knowledge and experiences in real-life practice, which means in the schools where they do their internship, for instance. And then it may become complicated, because if they, as a new and beginning teacher, want to propose a new way of dealing with language and culture teaching and learning, This might feel like something that really need to convince the teachers in the schools where they do their internship. And as an individual, that can be complicated, challenging. On the other hand, if they get a chance to work together with the teachers in the school on the challenges that they have, for instance, to develop intercultural competence in their pupils, and that this approach may give good opportunities for the school, then you can get a breakthrough and get really into good innovative developments. Which of course works best when you can work with a team of teachers, so the whole language, foreign languages department, for instance. Sometimes teachers feel like, well, it's not possible for me to change the program because we have our exam program and we have made arrangements with our colleagues and I cannot just go on my own. On the other hand, the teachers themselves are responsible for the exam program, and as long as they can explain how this works and relates to reaching the final achievement goals, as have been presented today as well, then it's their own responsibility and professionality to create that kind of tasks that are, well, help and support to reach those goals. So as a team you can really do a lot, and that's what I hope that also is the power of this kind of Erasmus Plus project, that it gives the teams the tools and the support to put that sustainable step forward, which can also continue then once the project and the funding has ended.
And so that's in terms of initial teacher training. Ingrid, how does in-service teacher training work within your community? Is virtual exchange something that could be introduced in training days within your school, or is that organized at a regional level? Or how can we offer, in-service teachers who haven't been trained at universities in virtual exchange? How could we better reach that group?
Well, I have seen, I think 6 years ago in Bart lessons, that it really does something with the students. So I am enthusiastic. And now it's my job to make my colleagues enthusiastic for this project first. Mm-hmm. And then we have to make a program for that. And time, make time, that's the most important thing. But for now, no.
So I'm getting the idea that the keywords are technology, teamwork, time, and pedagogical training. But also today we've seen a lot about frame VR, a lot about low, high immersion. Technology is moving along at a horrible, very fast speed. How can we, what can we put into place to keep technology up to date, but also to keep teachers' digital literacy skills up to date, so that virtual exchanges can, go beyond what they are today and incorporate new technology? The class question for anyone.
Well, I want to reply on Rick, because I agree with you that it's almost impossible to let a student from the university come into a school and say, so now I'm going to put on a different project, because that's not the way it goes in the Netherlands. On the other hand, if students on your university meet with students from, for example, the university in Berlin or in Spain or in Valencia, and have some context and do exchange in how we talk about education in the Netherlands and in Spain and in Berlin, if those contacts are there, it's a nice way to bring those contacts in the school as well. So in that way we can help each other to make the connections become more easy. And as a student, maybe, as a university or the high school, it can be a part of the curriculum to invest how teachers in other countries work and take it with them to the schools. That might be something that can help us. Want to react?
Yes. So we have partly overlapping networks, also international networks, that we can apply in order to help schools to set up those international connections and collaboration. Yes, definitely so.
Yeah,
that is an added value for the schools and also for the student teachers and also for their own experience and competencies that they have and can further develop. Most student teachers may have more from their daily life, more or different digital, online and virtual experiences than some of the experienced teachers in the school. And there also they can teach each other and learn from each other.
Yeah, I was going to answer to the question that Chiara was asking about technology. Moving on, for example, if we wanted to move on to goggles and glasses and those technological devices, we would need funds, because those are quite expensive devices for a small school like mine, for example. About digital literacy, we're quite lucky in the Basque Country because teacher training is being offered at a high level in secondary education for all teachers, so that we can enhance our digital literacy as well. And internationalization at the moment in the Basque Country is a must, is a goal for the future as well. So we are supported by the Basque government. However, time is a big issue amongst teachers, because we already work for many, many hours teaching, and for some people this is like an added thing. And yeah, and I think we have to support those teachers with extra time for them as well, so that they can prepare for this. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I was going to say that, I don't know, maybe it's in Valencia, because if you're saying that you're doing like the digital thing, I know that quite recently teachers in Valencia are we've been told that we need to reach a certain level of digitalization, and they are providing lots of courses. So I can't remember the year, all the secondary education teachers have a certificate that shows that their level in digital issues has been reached. So I think from the governments, they are trying to pursue this type of digitalization in secondary and primary education.
So there's never enough time in a round table to talk to everybody and interact with all the topics. So what I'm taking away from this is getting technology into the classrooms. I'm taking away schools working with teacher trainee colleges or education systems to get more dialogue and networking happening and help them look for international partners. Management supporting teachers in terms of the time allocated for preparing the projects. And we had teamwork, thinking about how to work internationally in teams, and also potentially how to sustain the E-LIVE resources so that they can be used over a longer period of time, and we'll be talking about that in tomorrow's meeting, in the consulting meeting. But thanks very much for participating from the different stakeholders' perspectives. Thank you very much.